The council chamber was cold and silent. Machines hummed in the walls, keeping the air at the right temperature for dozens of different species. Some breathed oxygen. Others needed gas mixtures that would kill most living things. The council made rules so all of them could sit together in one place. Commander Marcus Hayes stood at the viewing window and looked out at the stars. He was a tall man with dark hair and tired eyes. He'd been traveling between worlds for 20 years. Now he was the voice of humanity at the Galactic Council, and nobody listened to what he said. Behind him, the council members were arguing about the Atrillians. The Zephyr Confederation had attacked their world 3 days ago. The Atrillians were losing. In 5 days, maybe 6, their world would fall. Everyone knew it. Nobody wanted to help. Marcus turned to look at the council. A Vrelian ambassador was speaking. His body was made of something like stone, and his voice sounded like rocks grinding together. The Atrillians are not our problem, the Vrelian said. The Zephyr will take their world, and we will remain safe. This is how things have always been. A female council member from the Dex species nodded her head. She had 3 eyes, and they all pointed in the same direction when she looked at something. Right now, all 3 eyes were looking at the Vrelian. The Atrillians should have made better treaties, she said. Should have built stronger weapons. We cannot save everyone. Marcus heard the words, and he felt something hot in his chest. He knew these words were wrong. He knew that if they did nothing, thousands of Atrillians would die. Children would die. Old people would die. The whole civilization would be erased from the universe. He stepped forward and put his hands on the table. We can help them, Marcus said. His voice was not loud, but everyone heard it. Humanity can send ships. We can protect them. We have fought the Zephyr before. We know their tactics. The council members looked at Marcus like he was a child who had said something silly. The Vrelian made a sound like falling rocks. Humans, the Vrelian said. You are barely 200 years into space travel. The Zephyr have conquered 17 worlds in the last 100 years alone. You would send your small ships to die for strangers? Marcus did not answer. He knew they would not understand. A ex-council member named Velis spoke up. She had been on the council for 30 years. She knew more about history than most beings alive. The humans are correct, Velis said slowly. I have studied the records. Humanity does have military capability. Perhaps not enough to defeat the Zephyr, but enough to slow them. Enough to give the Atrillians time to evacuate. Evacuate to where? Another council member asked. There is no safe place for them. There is, Marcus said. Earth. Humanity will offer them asylum. We will protect them as our own people. The room became very quiet. Everyone was thinking about what Marcus had said. Nobody had offered asylum before. Nobody shared their homeworld with other species. It was too dangerous. What if they brought enemies home? What if the other species brought diseases or weapons or ideas that could harm them? Captain Linda Foster sat behind Marcus. She was his military advisor, and she was the strongest fighter he knew. She did not speak, but Marcus could feel her agreement. She wanted to fight too. The council members began to speak all at once. Their voices mixed together, words in 100 different languages being translated into basic speech that everyone could understand. Finally, the head of the council stood up. Her name was Kresh, and she was very old. She had been born on a world that did not even exist anymore. The Zephyr had taken that world and destroyed it. The council will vote, Kresh said. Those in favor of sending human ships to help the Atrillians. Only 5 council members raised their hands. There were 42 council members in the room. 37 said no. Marcus looked at Kresh. He did not need to say anything. He already knew what he would do. After the council meeting ended, Marcus left the chamber with Linda Foster. They walked through the long halls of the council station. The walls were transparent, and through them, Marcus could see 3 different star systems at once. The station orbited in space between worlds, belonging to no one. "What will we do?" Linda asked him quietly. "We will send a message to Earth," Marcus said. "We will tell them that the Atrillians are dying. We will ask for help." "The Council will say we are breaking the peace treaty," Linda said. "The Council will say many things," Marcus replied. "But they will not stop us. They are too afraid of the Zephyr to do anything bold." They reached the communication chamber. The station had the most powerful transmitters in this part of the galaxy. Messages sent from this chamber could reach Earth in just 3 days. Earth was far away, hidden behind ancient gates that only humans knew how to use. But the message would get there. Marcus sat in the command chair and began to write the message. He chose his words carefully. "Earth Command, this is Commander Marcus Hayes," he said into the transmitter. "The Aderillian civilization is under attack by the Zephyr Confederation. In 5 to 7 days, the Atrillians will lose their world. Their people will be destroyed. The Galactic Council has refused to help. Humanity has the military power to intervene. I am requesting authorization to deploy human combat forces to protect the Atrillians and offer them asylum on Earth." He paused, thinking about what to say next. "I understand that this is a major decision. I understand that it breaks our isolation. But we cannot hide while people die. We have the power to save them and the choice to use that power. I request approval within 4 days. We must move quickly." Marcus ended the transmission and sent it out across space. The message left the council station at light speed. Traveling through the darkness toward Earth. Linda Foster placed her hand on his shoulder. She did not need to speak. She understood that he had just changed everything. The news spread through the station quickly. The humans had asked for help from their homeworld. The Zephyr had heard about the request, and they sent a message to the council. The message said that if humanity tried to interfere in the Atrillian situation, there would be war. The council met again that night. This time, many members came to Marcus with fear in their faces. They told him that he had made a terrible mistake. They told him that the Zephyr would attack humanity next. They told him that he had doomed his own species. Marcus listened to all of it. And he did not change his mind. 3 days later, the answer came from Earth. The message was short. Just a few words from the Earth Defense Force Command. Approved. We are sending a military fleet to the Atrillian homeworld. May the stars watch over us. When the council heard the news, many of them became angry. Some demanded that humanity be removed from the council. Others said that humans were too dangerous and too unpredictable, but it was too late to stop what was coming. In 2 more days, the first human warships would arrive at the Atrillian world. The galaxy had no idea what was coming. The Atrillian sky was red and burning. The Zephyr had been bombing the planet for 4 days straight. David Sullivan watched from the bridge of the horizon's edge as the human fleet emerged from the jump gate. Behind his ship came 47 more warships. They were not the biggest ships in the galaxy. They were not the slowest either. They were built to be fast, smart, and deadly accurate. David was a military commander who had been fighting in space for 30 years. He had never lost a battle. He had never surrendered. He had never left people behind who he could save. "Sound general quarters," David said to his crew. "We are entering combat in 30 seconds. The alarm bells rang throughout the ship. Crew members ran to their battle stations. Engineers checked the weapon systems. Pilots sat in their ships, ready to fly. Everyone moved with purpose. Nobody wasted time with talk or fear. Captain Susan Grant was the weapons officer on David's ship. She had trained for this her whole life. Every human on the ship had trained for this. They did not know if they would win, but they knew how to fight. The first Zephyr attack came from above the red sky. 100 heavy attack ships dove toward the human fleet. The Zephyr were confident. They had beaten everyone for 300 years. They did not believe that this small human fleet could hurt them. David watched the attack pattern, and he already knew what the Zephyr would do. They always did the same things. They attacked in straight lines. They used frontal assaults. They believed that more weapons and bigger ships could solve every problem. All ships break formation, David commanded. Execute Pattern 7. Spread out and fall back toward the planet atmosphere. The human ships moved like a school of fish, turning and spinning in perfect patterns. They did not attack the Zephyr head-on. They fell back, retreated, made it look like they were running away. Susan Grant watched the radar screens. The Zephyr ships were following them down toward the atmosphere. They were coming exactly where David wanted them. Now, David said quietly, 20 human ships that had been hidden behind the Atrillion Moon suddenly came around and attacked from the side. They fired weapons at the Zephyr ships that had their shields turned to the front, not the sides. The first Zephyr ship exploded. Then 3 more. The Zephyr pilots realized they had made a mistake. They tried to turn their ships to face this new threat, but it was too late. Attack Group 2, come in from behind them, David said. Drive them toward the northern continent. Do not let them reach the civilian cities. The human pilots flew better than the Zephyr pilots. They moved faster. They thought faster. They did not follow the rules of space combat that everyone else followed. They made up new rules as they went. Susan Grant was amazed at what she was seeing. The human fleet had split into 5 smaller groups, and each group was fighting the Zephyr in a different way. Some of the human ships were small and fast. They attacked the Zephyr and then disappeared before the Zephyr could fight back. Other human ships were heavy and powerful. They held the center and protected the smaller ships. Captain, Zephyr formation is breaking apart, one of the crew members said. They are not organized anymore. They are just trying to survive. After 4 hours of fighting, the Zephyr commander gave an order. All Zephyr ships were to retreat. They were leaving the Atrillion airspace and moving back toward their supply ships. The human fleet did not chase them. David told his pilots to form up and stop firing. Some of the younger pilots wanted to keep fighting and destroy more Zephyr ships. But David knew that showing mercy was more important than showing strength. Let them go, David said. If we are to be the good people we say we are, we have to prove it in how we treat our enemies. Susan Grant understood what he was saying. She sent the order to all pilots. Cease fire. Return to formation. The human fleet moved toward the Atrillion capital city. The city was damaged from the bombing, but it was still standing. People were alive down there. Children were alive. That was what mattered. David took a smaller ship down to the surface to meet with the Atrillion leaders. They were shocked that humans could fight so well. They were shocked that humans had come at all. But most of all, they were shocked that humans did not demand anything in return. Why did you come here? The Atrillion leader asked. Her name was Kelia, and she was 700 years old. She had seen many wars. David thought about the question for a moment. He thought about Earth and his family. He thought about why he had chosen to join the military in the first place. It was not for money or power. It was because he believed that some things were worth fighting for. Because you are alive, David said. And because they were trying to kill you. That is enough. Kelia looked at him for a long time. She did not understand. In her experience, nobody fought for strangers. Nobody gave up their own security to help people from other worlds. What is your species? She asked. We are human, David said. We are from a world called Earth. For a very long time, we were alone. We did not want to be part of the galaxy. But we have changed our minds. We have decided that we should help people who cannot help themselves. Over the next few days, the human fleet stayed in a trillion space. They helped repair the city. They brought medical supplies and food. They flew their ships in circles around the planet to make sure no more Zephyr ships came back. Word spread through the galaxy about what had happened. The humans had defeated the Zephyr. The Zephyr, who had seemed unbeatable, had been beaten by a fleet that nobody had known existed. The other species began to talk. They began to ask questions. Who were these humans? Where did they come from? How were they so good at fighting? The Galactic Council called for an emergency meeting. Every species wanted to know about humanity. Every species wanted to know if humanity would help them too. But David Sullivan was not thinking about the Council. He was thinking about the Atrillians who were still alive because of what his people had done. He was thinking about the fact that his choices mattered. Every choice he made could save lives or destroy them. Susan Grant stood next to him on the bridge of the horizon's edge. They were watching the Atrillian sun set over the red landscape. What happens now? Susan asked him. Now everything changes, David said. The galaxy will never be the same. And we have to figure out if we are ready for that. The future was coming toward them like a ship through space, fast and impossible to stop. David could see it coming, and he did not know if his people were ready to face it. The meeting between David Sullivan and the Atrillian leadership took place in a stone building that had been carved from the red rock of their world thousands of years ago. The walls were thick and strong. They had protected the Atrillians through many wars. Now they would protect them while they talked about an alliance that could change everything. Kelia sat across from David. Her skin was blue, and her eyes were large and dark. She looked at him with curiosity and caution. My people want to know why you saved us, Kelia said. We have asked the question many times. In the Atrillian way of thinking, every action has a price. Every help requires payment. What do you want from us? David was quiet for a moment. He could have lied. He could have said that he wanted resources or trade agreements or military support. But he had decided a long time ago to always tell the truth, even when it was hard. We want nothing, David said. We saved you because you were dying, because we could stop it. That is all. Kelia did not speak. She looked at him like she was trying to understand a language she had never heard before. This is not how your people normally think, David said. I understand. But humans are different. We believe that mercy matters. We believe that you help people because they need help, not because they can pay you or give you something later. If this is true, Kelia said slowly, then your species is either very strong or very foolish. Maybe both, David said. I have thought about this many times. Kelia stood up and walked to the window. She looked out at her damaged world. Parts of the city were still burning. Thousands of her people were dead. But millions were alive because the humans had come. I will tell my people that we accept your offer of asylum, Kelia said. My people will leave our world and come with you to Earth. We will learn your ways. And perhaps someday we will understand why you did this. David felt something heavy lift from his chest. The Atrillians would live. The war had saved them, but the larger war was just beginning. The Galactic Council called for a vote that would change everything. They asked if humanity should be the leader of a military coalition against the Zephyr Confederation. 42 species voted yes. The Vrelian and 5 others voted no. It was the biggest alliance the galaxy had ever made. Commander Marcus Hayes was promoted to admiral. He became the supreme military leader of the largest force ever created. Billions of soldiers from hundreds of species were now under his command. It was a power that should have terrified him. Instead, it made him think about responsibility. Admiral Marcus Hayes gathered his military team in a planning chamber. Captain Linda Foster was there. Captain Susan Grant was there. Colonel Kevin West was there. These were the people he trusted most. "We have a problem," Kevin said. He was holding a data tablet that showed military plans. "The Council wants us to attack 3 Zephyr strongholds at the same time. But there is something wrong with the plan." Kevin showed them a map of Zephyr territory. One of the 3 strongholds was in a very bad position for human ships. It was surrounded by high radiation fields and asteroid belts. Any human force sent there would lose ships at a much higher rate than forces sent to the other strongholds. "This is intentional," Kevin said. "The Council wants to reduce human casualties by sending us to the places where we will take the most damage. They want us to be the sacrifice. While we are dying, they will take the easier targets and claim victory." Marcus felt anger rise in his mind. This was the problem with the Council. They did not see humanity as equal. They saw humans as useful tools that could be broken and then thrown away. "What do we do?" Linda asked. Marcus thought about what David Sullivan had said. He thought about mercy and strength. He thought about what it meant to be human. "We refuse," Marcus said. "We tell the Council that humanity will not accept this plan. We will fight, but we will fight on equal terms with the other species. We will not be sacrificed. The Council will not like this," Susan said. "They may remove us from the Alliance. Then we will leave," Marcus said simply. "But I will not let my people die so that others can stay safe. I will not do it." He stood up and activated the communication system. He sent a message to every Council member. In the message, he said that humanity would leave the Alliance unless the battle plans were changed to give human forces the same level of danger as forces from other species. The response came quickly. Many Council members were angry. Some threatened war against humanity. But others saw the strength in what Marcus had done. They saw that he was treating humans as equals and demanding respect. The Vrelian ambassador sent a message that surprised everyone. He said that he agreed with Marcus. The Vrelian had seen too many weak leaders sacrifice their own people to save themselves. He respected Marcus for being different. One by one, other species came forward. They agreed that the plan should be changed. Within hours, a new battle plan was created. This time, humans would fight in the same dangers as everyone else. Marcus received a transmission from David Sullivan. David was with the Atrillian fleet, helping them get ready to join the war effort. "The Atrillians want to fight," David said. "They want to help you defeat the Zephyr. They say that humans taught them what honor means. They want to show that they understand." "Tell them yes," Marcus said. "Tell them we will fight together." The Alliance was now more than just a military force. It was becoming a family. Species that had never trusted each other were learning to work together. They were learning that humans showed them something they had forgotten. Humans showed them that strength could be combined with honor, that mercy could be mixed with power. The Zephyr did not understand this. They sent message after message saying that the humans were making a mistake, that the Zephyr would crush them, that the galaxy would bow down to Zephyr power. But the Zephyr had forgotten something important. The Zephyr had built their power on fear. They made other species afraid so that those species would obey. Humans were not afraid. Colonel Kevin West began planning the attack on the Zephyr strongholds. He used every piece of information about Zephyr tactics and weapons. He looked at their history. He saw how they always made the same mistakes. "The Zephyr are strong," Kevin said to his team, "but they are not creative. They do not think in new ways. We can use that against them." Admiral Marcus Hayes listened to Kevin's plan, and he knew they had a chance. Not a guarantee, but a real chance to win. The fleet prepared for battle. Millions of soldiers from hundreds of species made ready. Some were afraid. Some were angry. Some were ready to die for what they believed in. but all of them understood that they were fighting for something bigger than themselves. They were fighting to prove that the galaxy did not have to be ruled by fear and power. The galaxy could be ruled by justice and mercy. The war was about to begin, and nothing would ever be the same again. The attack came from 5 directions at once. Thousands of ships from 100 different species moved toward the Zephyr strongholds. The Zephyr had built their military around the idea that they were the strongest force in the galaxy. They did not expect to be attacked at all. They did not have a good defense plan. Admiral Marcus Hayes watched from his command ship as the first wave of attacks hit the Zephyr supply lines. These were not big military attacks. They were small, fast strikes that destroyed the places where the Zephyr kept their food and fuel and weapons. The Zephyr commander, General Cross, did not understand what was happening. He sent his ships to where the attacks were coming from. But by the time his ships arrived, the attacking force was already gone. They had hit and run again. Colonel Kevin West smiled when he saw that his plan was working. The Zephyr were strong, but they were slow to react. They thought like big armies always think, with heavy weapons and direct attacks. They could not adjust to what was happening. Captain Linda Foster led one of the most dangerous missions of the early war. She was told to go into a Zephyr command station and steal their military codes. The station was on a small moon that orbited a dead planet. It was protected by 1,000 Zephyr soldiers. Linda had 12 people with her. 12 humans against 1,000 Zephyr soldiers. On the surface, it was impossible. But Linda understood something that the Zephyr did not understand. She understood that information was more powerful than weapons sometimes. Her team did not fight the Zephyr soldiers head-on. Instead, they moved through the station like ghosts. They cut power to the lights in some areas. They set fires in other places. They sent false messages through the communication system that said the station was under attack from 5 directions at once. The Zephyr soldiers became confused. They did not know where the real attack was coming from. They ran back and forth, trying to defend everywhere at once. They could not defend anywhere. Linda's team reached the central computer chamber. It took them 7 minutes to steal the military codes and the battle plans. The Zephyr codes would let the human fleet see what the Zephyr were planning. It would let them know where the attacks would come from next. As Linda's team was leaving the station, a Zephyr soldier saw them. He fired his weapon. A young human named Robert Chun was hit. He fell to the ground, and blood came from his shoulder. Linda did not stop to help him. She knew that if she did, all of them would die. Robert knew this too. He pushed a button on his suit that sent a warning to the other members of the team. Then he threw a small bomb at the Zephyr soldier. Linda's team made it back to their ship. They escaped from the station with the military codes and the battle plans. But Robert was still on the moon. Robert Chun did not think about dying. He thought about his family on Earth. He thought about why he had chosen to be a soldier. He thought about the Atrillions who would have been killed if the humans had not come to help them. Robert walked back toward the center of the station. There were 50 Zephyr soldiers there now. They saw him coming, and they raised their weapons. Robert did not try to run. He just walked toward them. A Zephyr officer asked him why he was coming to them alone. "Because you are going to kill me anyway," Robert said. "And I want you to know that it does not matter. Humans are not afraid to die. We die all the time. But we die for something that matters. You kill for something that does not matter. That is the difference between us." The Zephyr officer shot him. Robert died. But what he said was heard by every human and every alien who was listening to the communication channels. His words spread through the Alliance fleet like fire. Humans are not afraid to die because they know what they are dying for. Admiral Marcus Hayes said to his commanders, "This is what makes us strong. This is why we will win." The war continued for 3 weeks. Every day, the Zephyr lost more territory. Every day, their military got weaker. The human fleet was not the strongest force in the Alliance. The Vrelian had more soldiers. The Vex had bigger weapons. But the human fleet was the most creative. They found new ways to attack when the old ways did not work. Captain Susan Grant led a group of fast fighter ships against a Zephyr battleship. The battleship was 10 times bigger than any human ship. It had weapons that could destroy a city. But Susan did not attack it head-on. She flew around it. She attacked from different angles. She used tricks and surprises. She flew her ship so close to the battleship that the big ship could not use its main weapons. The weapons were too powerful. They would destroy the Zephyr ship itself if they fired so close. After 2 hours of fighting, the Zephyr battleship was surrounded. Susan's team had damaged all of its engines. The ship could not move. Susan sent a message to the Zephyr commander and told him to surrender. General Cross was in his command center when he heard about the battleship. He was losing. Every battle, he lost. Every day, his forces got weaker. He had believed that the Zephyr were unbeatable. But the humans had proved him wrong. David Sullivan led the Atrulian fleet in a final attack on the largest Zephyr stronghold. This was the main military base where all of Zephyr power came from. If this stronghold fell, the Zephyr Confederation would fall with it. The attack was perfect. The human fleet came from one direction. The Vrelian came from another. The Vex came from a third direction. The Atrulian came from the fourth. The Zephyr were surrounded. They had nowhere to run. General Cross sent one final message to his commanders. He told them to stop fighting. He told them that the Zephyr had lost the war. As the message went out, the Zephyr ships began to power down their weapons. They began to surrender. The war was over. It had lasted only 23 days. Admiral Marcus Hayes received the news while he was still on the command ship. He did not celebrate. He did not jump around or make loud noises. He just sat quietly and thought about all the soldiers who had died. He thought about Robert Chun, who had walked toward 50 Zephyr soldiers, knowing he would die. Captain Linda Foster came to stand next to him. "We won," she said. "We survived," Marcus replied. That is not always the same thing, but it was a victory. The Zephyr Confederation was gone. The other species were safe. The Atrulians had their freedom. The Alliance had shown that they could work together, and humans had shown themselves to the entire galaxy, not as conquerors, not as monsters, but as people who would fight for what was right, even if it cost them everything. The war was over, but the real work was just beginning. The victory celebration took place in the same council chamber where, weeks before, nobody had wanted to help the Atrulians. Now the chamber was filled with thousands of representatives from hundreds of different species. They had all come to honor the humans and the alliance that had defeated the Zephyr. Admiral Marcus Hayes stood on a platform while delegates presented him with medals and honors. Species that had never given gifts to other species gave gifts to humans. The Vrelian gave them ancient armor made from stone. The Vex gave them technology that had been secret for 500 years. The Atrulians gave them paintings and art and music, the things they said humans had taught them to value again. Marcus accepted each gift with respect and grace. But inside he was thinking about something else. He was thinking about secrets and history. He was thinking about the truth that the humans have been hiding for thousands of years. When the ceremony ended and the celebrations began, Marcus asked for a private meeting with the council. They gathered in a small room with only the most important leaders present. Marcus stood before them, and his face was serious. "I have something to tell you," Marcus said. "Something that humans have kept secret since before any of your civilizations were even born." The room became quiet. Everyone was listening. Marcus activated a presentation system, and it showed images and information that went back thousands of years. It showed pictures of old human ships. It showed maps of human space stations. It showed records of human colonies that had existed across the galaxy. Humanity did not discover space travel 200 years ago, Marcus said. We have been traveling between the stars for more than 3,000 years. We have built space gates. We have created jump points. We have colonized hundreds of worlds. The council members were shocked. The Vrelian leaned forward, trying to understand what this meant. We were here before any of you, Marcus continued. We built the first space stations. We created the laws that you still use today. We taught your civilizations how to build weapons and how to make treaties. And then, 3,000 years ago, we left. Why? The Dex ambassador asked. Her three eyes were all focused on Marcus. Why would you leave if you were so powerful? Marcus did not answer right away. He showed more images on the presentation. They showed battles and wars. They showed cities that had been destroyed. They showed blood and death and suffering. Because we had a war, Marcus said slowly. A very big war. Human fought against human. Species fought against species. We had the technology to destroy entire planets. We did destroy entire planets. In the end, the war killed billions of humans. We had the power to rule the galaxy, but that power destroyed us. The council members understood now. They understood why humans had left. We made a choice, Marcus said. We decided that ruling the galaxy was not worth the cost. We sealed away Earth. We closed our gates. We let other species develop on their own, without our help or our interference. We gave you the chance to build your own civilizations without us controlling everything. But you came back, the Vrelian said. You said you had made a choice to leave us alone. Why did you break that choice? Because the Atrillians were dying, Marcus said. Because mercy matters more than rules. Because some things transcend even the most important decisions we have made. Marcus walked to the center of the room. Humans are not gods, he said. We do not want to rule you. We do not want to tell you what to do. We want to be your partners. We want to help when we can. We want to stand together as equals. This is what we are offering to the galaxy now. The Atrillian leader Kelia stood up. The humans saved my people when we were dying, she said. I would vote to accept this offer. Let humans be part of the galaxy again. Not as rulers, as friends. One by one, the other council members voted. It was almost unanimous. Only the Vrelian waited before voting. Finally, the Vrelian ambassador stood. We vote yes, the Vrelian said. We believe that humans have learned the lesson that we are still learning. We believe that strength without mercy is empty. We believe that humanity belongs in the galaxy. And we believe that you will help us become better than we have been. After the council vote, Captain Linda Foster was promoted. She was given a new title, Chief of Human Diplomatic Relations. It was her job to help humans and other species learn to live together. It was her job to build friendships between different worlds. Linda began her work immediately. She traveled from world to world, meeting with leaders and teachers and military commanders. She explained humanity's past. She explained why humans had left. She explained why humans had come back. Everywhere she went, she told the same message. Humans wanted to be partners. Humans wanted to help. But humans also wanted to be treated with respect. Humans would not be sacrificed. Humans would not be used. Humans would stand up for what was right, even if it made others angry. 3 months after the war ended, Admiral Marcus Hayes took a ship back to Earth. He wanted to bring news to his people. He wanted to tell them that humanity's time of hiding was over. He wanted to prepare them for what was coming. As the ship traveled through space, Marcus sat in his quarters and looked at old records. He looked at pictures of Earth from 3,000 years ago. He looked at the records of the Great War. He thought about all the humans who had died in that war. He thought about why they had died. They had died because humans made the mistake of believing that they had to rule everything. They had died because humans forgot that mercy was stronger than power. But humans had learned that lesson. It had taken 3,000 years, but humans had finally learned it. The ship landed on Earth. Marcus stepped out onto the ground of his homeworld. The air smelled like trees and rain and soil. It smelled like life. It smelled like home. Millions of humans had come to see the ship land. They wanted to know what had happened in the galaxy. They wanted to know if humanity was safe. They wanted to know what was coming next. Marcus stood on a platform and spoke to his people. "The war is over," he said. "We have defeated the Zephyr. We have proven that humans are strong and brave and creative. But more important, we have proven that humans are good. We have proven that we care about other people. We have proven that we will sacrifice ourselves to save others." He paused, and he looked out at the crowd of humans who were listening to him. "The galaxy knows now that we exist," he said. "The galaxy knows that we are strong. But they also know something more important. They know that humans keep their word. They know that humans fight for what is right. They know that we have the power to rule the galaxy, but we choose not to. The question now is this: are we ready for the galaxy? Are we ready to be partners with other species? Are we ready to help them? Are we ready to learn from them? Are we ready to build something new together?" Marcus looked directly into the cameras that were recording his words. Billions of humans were watching from all around the world. "I believe we are ready," he said. "I believe that humanity has finally grown up. I believe that we are ready to be part of something bigger than ourselves." The crowd cheered. They understood what Marcus was saying. They understood that the time of hiding was over. The time of being part of the galaxy had begun. As the sun set over Earth, Admiral Marcus Hayes looked up at the stars. Somewhere out there, the Atrillians were building new cities. Somewhere out there, the Vrelian were making treaties with species they had never trusted before. Somewhere out there, the galaxy was changing, and humanity was at the center of that change. The old myths were true. Humans had existed before. Humans had built empires. Humans had conquered worlds. But that was not what made humans special. What made humans special was that humans could learn. Humans could change. Humans could choose to be better. That was what the galaxy was learning now. That was the lesson that would shape the future. The age of humanity had returned to the stars. And this time, it would be different. This time, humanity would not rule. This time, humanity would help. This time, humanity would be the light that showed other species what was possible when you chose mercy over power. When you chose hope over fear, the future was bright. And it belonged to all of them now, together.